The one thing that the internet is talking about is the CGI fall on the back of, what is it, like a AC unit or a thing on the rooftop.
It's
He does a backwards Max Payne bullet dive, and
Yeah.
and then he lands, but it's clearly CG'd over. Like, it does look like it's from a video
It's
game.
masking.
What is up, guys? We're here with a video review of Punisher: One Last Kill. I'm Anthony.
I'm Brandon.
And we're here to give you a spoiler-free discussion of this brand new special that just dropped. Let's do it. Return of the Punisher, finally.
Finally.
At least, like, you know, by himself. He was in Daredevil, Born Again, and we saw him recently, but we are fans of the Punisher, the character, and we are, you know, Thomas Jane fans, we're John Bernthal fans. Like, we're not, like, you know, picky. I'm even a Dolph Lundgren fan of the old, you know, Punisher from the 80s. So,
Yeah,
like,
man.
you know, like, we like all different eras of it. So, going into this, we just kind of wanted to, you know, give a review that is just kind of honest from the fans' perspective. We do have some positives that are more than the negatives, but we'll get to that at the end. I guess we can kind of jump in here and talk about kind of where Frank is at in the plot, because this does really focus on his, like, PTSD and his, like, where he's at his current state, which we've seen him through 2 seasons of the show. We've seen him through Daredevil. He's been through a lot, this version of the Punisher.
Yeah, physically he's good, but mentally, well, it's for what we would consider now Disney Plus, it is pretty dark, and
Yeah.
definitely wouldn't recommend your kids watching it. But I'm also not their parent, so to each his own going into this. But
He's doing the fucking pull-up bar and his hands are bleeding, and, like, the
yeah,
first, like,
and,
shot.
duct tape to the pull-up bar so you can like he's like ripping the flesh off his hand. I'm like, what is happening
Yeah.
right now? This is like already getting brutal, and nothing's
Danzig's
happened yet.
mother's playing, and it's like, you're like, okay, this is the vibe they're going for. Yeah, they definitely made it to where it's just like not much has changed with his mental state. He's obviously going through a lot, and he's still having visions of his former military comrades from back during the war, and other characters as well. A lot of them, he's having conversations with them, and they're not actually there.
I think the two we should bring up off the bat, we do see a little bit of Karen Page in here,
Yes.
and we do see Curtis from the Punisher Netflix series, which was nice for
Yeah.
a brief moment.
That was nice.
I just think, and with a lot of other reviews, we are who we are. We're going to have our own opinions. I feel for what we got, it was a nice little loose end tie-up. It wasn't much, but there was enough there where if you've seen the original series, I think you could at least appreciate it in a way where they didn't overdo it, but they didn't undersell it. It was the right amount, because we've already had those stories, so there's no reason to go a full 40 minutes, 43, 44 minutes, whatever, you know, plus credits.
Right.
There's enough there, though, to where there's a basis for reasoning behind his actions. And as a Punisher fan, I know it's a fictional character, but it is a dark, sad character.
Yeah.
Going into anything, I think, Punisher related. But since Thomas Jane, I think John Bernthal, he nails it.
Yeah.
And that's just me. Maybe I'm kissing ass, but I mean, after seeing what could have been a 3rd season of The Punisher, I wish we would have gotten that.
I know. This
But-
does feel like it's a little. It is short, like you said. Like without credits, it's like 43 minutes or so, and it's like. I just wish there was a little bit more. I know it's supposed to be kind of a special or like a short almost, but man, yeah, like we really wanted to see more of it. And again, I know they're trying to kind of tie this into more stuff hopefully in the future. We know he's going to be in Spider-Man and stuff like that, but it was cool to see him come back. But again, yeah, he's in this, you know, just this whole PTSD mode for, you know, the first bit of this, you know, the first little chunk of this is him kind of going through that, whether it's in his apartment or going to see his family in the cemetery, and he's talking to them and he's trying to, like, see them visually. Like, he's like, come on, like, I know you're here somewhere. And he's like, he's just confused as to why they're not showing up. And then by the time his daughter shows up, he can't even really talk to her. She's gone. In his visions that he has. So it kind of really leans into that, and he's kind of living off the grid. This is in Little Sicily, so this is a very, like, heavy crime, you know, mob ran area. You can tell. But this is really wrapped up in the Gnucci family, the mob family. And Ma is the last one that, you know, he didn't take out, and she's basically putting a bounty on his head. And that's kind of the premise of this, like, if you want to call it episode, special. It's really him dealing with his PTSD and then trying to fight off everybody that is just going apeshit trying to kill him for a bounty, because she's obviously pissed that he took out her family, justifiably so, because his family got taken out. So there's that side of like, hey, you did this.
It's the never-ending cycle.
The cycle of violence. Yeah, revenge and violence. Yeah, that's a huge one. How did you think like how this was paced? Because some people might say, okay, it focused on the mental health too long, or focused on, you know, do you think that this was a good balance of like?
Originally, when we talked about doing this a couple days ago, you know, I brought up I originally thought this was going to be a full-length film. I hadn't kept up with everything. But
right. Yeah, I thought the same thing too. I was like, oh, maybe it's going to be an hour and a half, and then we saw it was like 48 minutes with credits, you know.
So, you know, I just I went into it. I was like, it's not going to be like I would call it our El Camino, kind of like what Breaking Bad had, but even then that's a stretch because
that was longer, I think.
Yeah, it was a full-length film, so you're getting a lot more tie-up and explanation and full circle moments and all the cliche stuff that you're used to. But not calling it a cliche, I'm just saying, like,
right.
In terms of the Punisher, we've seen more in these 44 minutes between the family dynamic and the build-up. I mean, there's a lot going on there. There's so much more to expand on. And keep in mind, Ma Gnucci, if you play the original Punisher game with Thomas Jane,
yep,
we haven't really seen Ma Gnucci in anything media.
No.
Even video games, I think, other than comics, only other type of media I think she's been in. I could be wrong. There's way more diehard Punisher fans out there than us.
Right.
I won't lie. I'm sure there's people who dissect every little choice and decision. I get it. But Ma Gnucci is a problem. And that could be a staple going forward for any character because she is not a good person.
So Ma, of course, is also in Welcome Back, Frank, and you know, she has a fate with a polar bear. Let's just say that, and her limbs get, you know, ripped off. So very interesting that they're setting this character up for maybe in a, you know, inevitable crazy death. But, you know, I don't know if they're going to go that far with it in maybe a movie or something else. But like you said, they really do set this up to be something bigger. And of course she does have, you know, that scene where she's kind of explaining that, like, you know, what was it, 6:47? She's like, that's the time that, you know, that everything happened. So at 6:47, basically you have until that time to get the fuck out of Dodge, basically. And of course he goes back to his apartment and all hell breaks loose. So really, once he meets with Ma, and that is kind of, you know, again, the fact that it's already a shitty area. We already saw, like, the was it the bagel shop or the donut shop owner and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, there is, like, just regular working people in this, like, you know, surrounded by decaying, you know, criminals. We also see, like, you know, the homeless dude getting, you know, his dog ripped away from him, and yeah, that gets thrown into traffic. It's pretty dark. So I think the dark and the grit here, as it builds up to this, you know, like, climax of this big ass fight scene that everybody's kind of just you're just waiting for him to get pushed to his limits. And while he doesn't even have a full-on arsenal himself at the start, he kind of just, like, starts out and he starts taking their weapons, and that's when he just starts using what he can, and of course he will kill everything in his sight once he starts, and they did a great job with that.
I did see, and I'm not saying it's everyone, people will say that this Punisher wasn't tactical. Not true.
No
normal man who, I mean, at least in the sense of the Punisher, who is a fictional character.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people out there who could fight like that. That many people, maybe not.
Yeah, but maybe not all at once, right?
But what I like about it is we do get gore, and I like that this is a small send-off to, like, we're stepping away from the R-rated Punisher and going into a lighter Punisher for Brand New Day when it comes out. But keep in mind, from what we know at the time of recording this, there are rumors, nothing official, that they are planning to do a full-length film. The reason why we're bringing this up is because with the whole Ma Gnucci thing going forward, she may not be in Brand New Day. I most definitely don't think she will.
Right.
But if they do something after that, and this is canon, I mean, the Punisher is in Secret Wars. So
yes.
We'll see what happens.
And that's
with
part
that
of Phase 6. Yeah. All this is part of Phase 6, and like you said, it's kind of building those characters in this new phase. And I think that's great because there's only one way to really do it, and that's kind of like organically, like how they're just trying to do, like, okay, the shows connect, the movies connect. Some of them can be, you know, a lot to handle sometimes at once, but I think that if they build up this character right and they kind of get in the headspace of like, hey, we can really have his own film and keep it rated R, and because this is still violent. This is still a violent thing to be even on Disney Plus, which we knew that they were going to keep it violent. Obviously, could it have been gorier? Yeah, but I still was satisfied, I think, with the level of like intensity I think that these scenes showed off, and especially like you said, with how he's tactical, how he's able to, like, you know, rip weapons from people, melee them, like everything, and all the set pieces were very fun to see once you're just building up to the big ass fight scene at the apartment complex when everyone is just raiding every apartment and just ripping people out. Like, it's like a crazy sequence, but it works.
And that was the other thing about the narrative of this is, like, you see him in the beginning, it starts off slow, he's not really sure what he wants to do. But,
he's conflicted.
But I just know for a fact that once women and kids are brought into the mix, regardless of what Frank Castle's feeling, he always acts. There's just a point where, like, I don't care what direction they're trying to go, you just know Frank Castle's a character, like, he would act in a realistic situation.
Yeah.
Which most people who are normal and have compassion would, which is what I like about Frank. Everyone looks at him as a killer, but I mean, what are you supposed to do, man? There's no one else there in that particular moment to take action.
Yeah, exactly. Once he takes his first action in this, you definitely see why, and I think they do a good job at, again, staying true to the character and, like, how he would act. Like, I feel like when him and the director wrote this, it was more of like, okay, how would he act in this situation? And, like, again, maybe there could have been more to the character in this particular special, but if it's building up to stuff anyway, it's, you know, it's one thing if they don't, and it's like, man, that could have been a lot better if they never followed up. But if they did, I feel like that would have been, you know, a better kind of transition from this to a movie. And I do think that they're setting that up. I don't think that they're going to let this one go. I don't think he's just going to be in Spider-Man and, like, that's the last we're going to see of John Bernthal. No. I really hope that they keep to their word on that. But I think that by the time it went full on fight scene and shit was going crazy, it was great to watch because all the fight scenes and everything looked good for the most part. The one thing that the internet is talking about is the CGI fall on the back of, what is it, like a AC unit or a thing on the rooftop. It does a backwards Max Payne bullet dive, and and then he lands, but it's clearly CG'd over. Like, it does look like it's from a video game.
Masking.
It's masking.
Unfortunately, even with technology today, I mean, there's a reason why they do quick cuts. When you have a cut like that, I mean, it was quick, but you go any quicker, then you're cutting too much out. Yeah. So regardless, you're probably going to see it, but compared to everything else that happened, I mean, everything else
looked good.
Except for the part with his legs being on fire. That, I obviously would be CGI. Maybe if they had a stunt double do that, maybe from behind it was a stunt double actually on fire.
Some of the fire could have been.
Fire's just, it's too risky to play with. Like, most people, that's why they do CGIs, because practical stunts now, like, they did do practical, but fire is just one of those unpredictable things where, like, anything can go wrong.
Or you need a stunt guy to do fire, and it looked like it was John Bernthal with the fire around him, so it definitely either could have been A, he's crazy and he just doesn't care, or B, it's CGI, and they're just like, fuck it, let's keep it safe, like you said. Because
I don't want to break immersion. I just went with it. It's real, but I doubt it. Yeah. I mean, you're putting John Bernthal in a very risky situation, and you get burned. Yeah, like,
and he's all into it, so I respect it, but yeah, sometimes there's limits. And now, as far as the CGI fall that everyone's talking about, it does look like Joel from The Last of Us. It does look bad.
We're just going to say, because we've already been reading posts, it does. To me, a lot of people say Joel. I brought up to him, it looks like Butcher from The Boys, but everyone has their own opinion.
Just for that quick little second, and we're like, okay, you could have shot that maybe from a different angle and still got a fall from the side, and it'd be the stunt guy, and it's fine. That's the only thing that people are talking about, but I will say that, like, the rest of the action and the fight scenes look believable and fine.
And the only reason why we're bringing it up is because everyone's going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But the point is, I mean, you got to look at it from a filming aspect. Like, would you rather have it be slightly cheesy and get everything that comes after that, or would you, like, less is more? I mean, they could have done a lot of CGI throughout the entire. They didn't. I mean, for the most part,
Right,
everything was
blood.
practical.
There was CG blood.
Yeah.
But I think like it wasn't like, okay, this looks too tacky, this looks too fake. Like it worked. Like even like, let's say there's a stabbing scene that is very gory, and like that looked good. Like there's certain things where it's like the up close and personal shit still looks really good. It doesn't look like it's just like caked over all CGI. And the set pieces were entertaining, and it kept us entertained.
The stabbing that he's referring to is, I play some pretty violent video games, and we both have been exposed to some pretty violent media.
Yeah, we've made horror stuff on this channel that has been violent.
Let me put it this way: during that stabbing scene, definitely tell your kids to cover their eyes or watch it.
Yeah, they're already watching.
They're definitely going to be like, I don't know, like how I feel about it. It's a little, it's not extreme, but it's kind of extreme.
It's definitely violent.
Weird.
Yeah, it's definitely violent.
It's hard to explain,
and it's on the nose with like how the Punisher, usually, takes out some people. But yeah, I think like when it comes to just how the vibe is with this, I do think that like this was captured. This captured the vibe really well, but I obviously, of course, we want more. We're fans. We want this thing to be 2 hours long. It would have been cool if it was like that, like a movie, but put on streaming. But if they end up doing that and putting it in theaters, like I would be down for that as well.
And also, keep in mind, people, the reason why we're saying this might not be, we know it's not the last of the Punisher.
Right.
But you got to remember, with these Disney contracts, especially with all the previous stuff that happened prior, they all had 10-year contracts. Now, I don't know. None of us know. I don't know like how John Bernthal's contract works. But let's just say Disney Plus, since they got brought on, was like a reset. So take from Daredevil Born Again up until now, just add years on it. I mean, at least 10 years. He's going to get at least a decade of playing the Punisher. Because
he seems to be into it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it seems like him and the director, Kevin Feige, gave them rights. Like, they pretty much said going into this, they had full reign to do what they want. I mean, you can watch behind the scenes, and some of it seems like it's just for PR, but they sound genuine.
John Bernthal helped write it, and, I feel like that's... And some fans might be like, well, again, the haters are going to hate, but I think, like you said, it's in good hands, and if it continues to get, success from the fans and fans respond well to it, they'll keep doing it.
I mean, let's be real here. Even seeing Ma Gnucci, it kind of blows my mind because this is what I was talking to him about was it would be cool if we got... I mean, Ma Gnucci was a huge staple in the original game.
Yes.
And
the 2005 game we're specifically talking about, which is one of our favorite games.
And it begs the question to me, in the original comics, he looked it up, she does get thrown out of a window. Now, in this, she's in a wheelchair.
Yes.
None of that is explained.
Yeah, she's already, like, in a chair and...
I would like to think, as someone who throws theories around, somewhere in between... I mean, here's the problem. This is the first time they're meeting. So the way they're doing it, it's like she was already paralyzed, but when you see in the flashback, she's not paralyzed.
Yeah, so something happened from when her family got taken out to when, when Frank took out her family to when now she's like doing this revenge bounty thing. And I think they did a good job with keeping that like seed planted, I guess, so to speak. But yeah, they really have that one interaction, and then there's a scene where like he has to like choose basically one or two different paths, and one is saving someone, the other is just looking at her driving away in the car, and you're like, okay, that's probably gonna be the last time he sees her until.
I just find it funny that he could have just taken Ma out and had been done with it, but it's like Kevin Feige's like, no, we can have all this violence, but shooting a person in a wheelchair, that's where I draw the line. That's too hard.
I'm sure they won't stop there with especially because she's one of the last pieces of his revenge story, I feel like, for that side of the family. And I think the way that they kind of wrap things up towards the end, and you kind of see the restaurant in the background, and you see him taking out the dude on the side that's like an asshole, the gang member or whatever he is, that's just telling you like there's more. There's more. There has to be more. So I think as Punisher fans, we're excited to see that. And of course, like I think we're both huge Spider-Man fans, so I think obviously we're going to see him in the movie, and this will take place after the movie will take place after this special here.
More or less like when Spider-Man does meet Frank, but again, these are just theories. We don't know exactly how he's going to be brought in the Brand New Day.
Yeah, we only saw him in the trailer where he's like, "Oh, get off the truck," and he's like, "Frank, what are you doing?"
Yeah,
Like, it's almost like he knows him by name. Like, Frank, what are you doing?
This
man?
ends
like,
so abruptly. Like, at least with the TV show when it was on, like, it was, episodes, they had credits and everything, and, it did its full form. But with this, because it's a short, they weren't going to have, they had 5-minute credits, but it wasn't like 10, 15 minutes long.
No. There was a nice hefty team that worked on this, but it wasn't like a feature film credit list.
And do me a favor, avoid YouTube until you watch it, because there's just, as of today, by the time it's being recorded, it's already, I know it's not long, it's a short, you probably don't care if it gets spoiled. We've kind of already talked about it a little bit, but out of context.
Yeah,
so,
we're kind of not giving you little details on purpose, and we'll let you know in the front of this, obviously, that it'll be spoiler free. But yeah, I think as far as like the positives and the negatives, I guess, because we can kind of get into that. Like, we felt pretty strong about this. I think the pacing and tension was all there. I feel like this had a good grasp of the character of the Punisher and kind of where John Bernthal's Punisher was kind of left at. I thought it was shot very well. Cinematography was pretty close to what we would expect, and it captures the grit. And I thought the fight scenes and the set pieces were very well choreographed. Is there any other positives that you want to add to that? Or?
For me, it's sad that, as of right now, this is the end of the R-rated Punisher. But like I said, going forward, whatever happens after Spider-Man, I'm sure there's going to be another in-between. We're going to get more. I would like to think so.
As long as he's in his own, his own, movie, they can still make it
like I said,
R,
if Ma is not in
whatever.
Brand New Day, then something we can't just bring her in like that as a one-off and never touch her again.
They can always say
there's no way.
The next Punisher movie that is John Bernthal, that takes place before Brand New Day. They could always say something like that, where it's like you just don't see it until.
But that's my thing, though, with the way this ends and the way the trailer was for Brand New Day. It's in broad daylight, and it just ends so abruptly. It's like what it feels more like this is literally a filler, but we're also tying up loose ends.
Yeah.
So this will be picked up, but the way it ends on it ends on the Punisher note.
Yeah.
It ends the way Frank Castle ends.
Yes.
It's so hard to explain because of the way Disney is and the way Marvel is.
Yeah.
I don't want to piss any Marvel fans off. As a Punisher fan,
yeah,
I would like to think that Thomas Jane's out there somewhere just giving John Bernthal a thumbs up, because we know that they once had a talk, and everything John Bernthal's been doing, I would like to think that Thomas Jane seared something into his brain for Frank Castle forever. He's doing it right. He's putting his all on the line.
And he's putting his own spin on it. He's not trying to be Thomas Jane or past, Punishers. He's trying to, and that's why I think it was good that he came back and took a creative, role in this film. Obviously, he's a producer, John Bernthal, as well, but, he's also a writer, and he really has a vision for it. So I think that's good when you have somebody like that has that, because I wish we had more time with Thomas Jane back in the day, but he, opted out.
I'm sorry.
Even Ray Stevenson, I thought was pretty good.
Oh, rest in peace, man.
Yeah, R.I.P. You know what I mean? So again, we're not one of these Punisher haters. We appreciate every version of the Punisher. Obviously, some movies are better than others, but I think that this kind of opens it up, to something more.
I did want to touch on, because I don't want to spoil the graveyard thing with this, but in Warzone, just touching on Ray Stevenson real quick for the sole factor of this scene.
Yeah.
The church scene where he's talking to the priest or father, and the father pretty much says, in this line of work, you're going to have regrets, and Frank Castle is pretty much I just want to get my hands on God, which I think set a tone that didn't really get touched on too much. I'll be real with you, man. Unless you've lost people, we've all lost people. Mm-hmm. But I like the whole sitting at the graveyard and really reflecting on your thoughts. That's shit that people do.
Yeah.
I've done it once in my life.
Right.
And that's it. So I get it. They need, you need to explore, the human condition, which is what this did. And
that's a great point.
And they even explain going into this, when you watch it, it's going to be violent, but it's more focused around the PTSD, the dark thoughts he has, the
cycles
regrets.
Of violence and vengeance.
Yeah, I know people deal with this shit on daily. A lot of people have PTSD, not just from war, just from car accidents, seeing bad shit happen.
Absolutely, trauma. Yeah.
Exactly, and trauma is a real thing that even today doesn't get talked about, doesn't get touched upon. And I see I read comments. I don't sit there and reply to everything, but I do see people talk about like their real life experiences. And even with the Punisher, a lot of people, like, they do their research. And I think, you can hate it for it not being your vision or disliking certain things about it. But in terms of it being the Punisher, at this point in time, I'm glad we got the time we got with Jon Bernthal. And even now going forward, like, he's gone out of his way to give us that character.
Yeah.
Just like Ryan Reynolds fought for Deadpool, same fucking equivalent.
Right. Yeah, he's putting the effort in. That's very well said. And, like, honestly, there's not much that we could say that, like, again, the weak CG fall, sure, and maybe this could have been a little bit longer.
It's such a small thing, though.
Right. And maybe this could have been a little bit longer. Like, maybe we would have taken an hour or hour and a half just to get a little bit more frank and a little bit more of a story. Those are the only two that I can, like, really think of. So I just think that, like, walking away from this, we have a lot more strengths than weaknesses. And like you said, it kind of sets up a lot of great potential. That Jon Bernthal, again, he has that enthusiasm. So you feel that. And yeah, maybe people aren't all for, like, the grunts and the, whatever. It's some of it's funny, it's meme worthy, sure, from some people, but it's still serious. Like you said, it's serious shit that he's going through. Like I said, it touches on the PTSD, it touches on the violence after so many years and what he's been through. And you definitely felt that in this, even though, again, it was building up to that ending with all the action stuff. But I think it was paced pretty well for a short, or whatever you want to throw it under. And I think we're walking away pretty positive on this one. We're not really doing like number reviews. We just kind of wanted to lay it all out there and kind of give our thoughts. But is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up, or?
I mean, as far as being satisfied, I mean, I'm satisfied.
Yeah, as Punisher fans, I think we're pretty content with this.
Granted, again, we all want to see more, but
right.
We knew going into this, some of it was going to be a little bit of a build-up, but once it got going, it got going.
Yeah.
And I think that is a huge thing, because it's really hard to... You got to think of the budget, too. Like, just doing this kind of shit, especially for a short film, a lot of money between choreography, extras, and just you only got so much time too. Like these people shoot 12 to 18 hours a day.
Yeah,
maybe not all every day, but I'm sure some days they do.
Yeah,
like
long
you gotta
days.
appreciate the effort for such a short film. It had a lot of potential.
Yeah,
and I'd like to see what happens going forward after Spider-Man. I know what to expect with PG-13.
Yeah,
but going forward, I have nothing but high hopes for Jon Bernthal. And whatever direction they want to go. I just hope it stays gory, it stays dark, and they don't stray away from it. They just give us what people want. Stop changing everything. Like, Frank Castle, you can't change him anymore. Like, the way he is now is the way he should stay.
Yeah.
You can't keep flip-flopping between having good, just keep him dark. Yeah. You keep him dark. Every intertwining story, everyone has a confliction because of Frank Castle's morals. That's what I like about him. And I'll end with that.
Yeah, no, very well said. And we definitely want to hear from you down below as well. If you watch this, if you enjoyed it, do you think this was a good continuation of Jon Bernthal's Punisher? Definitely hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll catch all of you guys in the next one.